And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus on this Thursday edition, July 23rd. Temperatures outside in the 80s. And boy, we have the hottest weather of the season heading our way as we head into the upcoming weekend. Just what you wanted to hear. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki, along with our Ag Director Bridgette Readel. And Bridgette, it is that time of the year. We get hot weather. But I was doing a little climate digging, and average number of 90-degree days we see in a year. Any idea, roughly?
3. Average.
13. 13 is average.
Higher than I expected.
Yeah, me too.
And you know what? Newsflash, it's going to be cold in January.
Yeah, right, exactly. So enjoy these days while they're here. So average is 13. We've already seen 16, and we're going to add to that over the next 10 days. In fact, we have, like I said, some of the hottest weather heading our way. Our hottest temperature so far this year has been 97, and I think we'll easily surpass that this weekend. Today, though, not a bad day. It is a little breezy. Still that milky white to the clouds or to the sky. That's due to that upper level smoke still hanging on. 86 today with south-southwest winds about 10 to 25. Clear skies tonight, low 60s. And for your Friday, another breezy one with south winds 10 to 25 with highs in the low 90s. Now, we will see a chance for showers and storms come into the forecast Friday evening. If you have any evening plans, keep up to date on the forecast, as Storm Prediction Center does have our area in a slight risk that we could see a few strong to severe storms Friday evening. Timing on that would be between about 5 o'clock and 10 o'clock in the evening. And then the rest of the weekend, it heats up. In fact, winds will be lighter on Saturday and Sunday as well. Humidity levels won't be too bad, mid-60 dew points, but temperatures in the mid-90s on Saturday, upper 90s on Sunday, and then we're in the 90s again for most of next week with dry conditions. And this weather has been brought to you by the Hot Tub and Sauna Store. If you ever just have a long day at work and you want to just go home and relax, I'll tell you, nothing is better than the wellness you deserve at the Hot Tubs and Sauna Store in West Fargo. Sink into that brand new Caldera Spa. Hot tubs built for pure comfort. I've got one at home, and I'll tell you what, it is relaxing getting into that right before you go to bed at night. Kind of winds you down. Super efficient energy use, easy saltwater maintenance. Just imagine coming home to that every night. And for serious health benefits, you can step into a Finleo sauna so you can train, detox, and truly relax right at home. The Hot Tub and Sauna Store, living the life you love. Stop by there today, right next to Costco in West Fargo. And some might say it's a little too hot, getting a hot tub this time of the year, but I'll tell you what, it's relaxing as all get out for sure.
One more relaxing thing would be the fact that you may be the winner of the Ultimate Gridiron Getaway in Vegas. Thanks to United Valley Bank, where our roots make us stronger. They are located off of 52nd Avenue in Fargo. They are working with us to take 2 tickets, or 2 winners, to Las Vegas. This will be coming up. I hear there's a big football game there being played on October 10th. There's a 3-night hotel stay involved. You get a chance to see Fargo's favorite college football team, and that will be a game played at the Las Vegas Allegiant Stadium. You also get access to the Champions Club unlimited premium food buffet and alcoholic beverages. They said a food buffet, so sign me up. I'm all for it. But the way you get a chance to win is by listening between at the 7 a.m. hour, the 10 and the 2 p.m. because when you hear the gridiron sounder, you will be the right numbered caller to get qualified. And that qualification earns you a spot on September 14th at Kingpin, where you get the opportunity to see if you win. And you're going to Vegas for a great football game. So keep that in mind. Also keep in mind that if you just can't possibly wait until then, next Thursday, we will be doing our first WDAY live auction. That'll take place next Wednesday afternoon, July 30th, or excuse me, next Thursday afternoon, July 30th. And that will be between 2 and 4 p.m. during the Jay Thomas Show, where you get to bid. Steve Hallstrom, I guess he's polishing off his auctioneer hat in order to get this going. There's guitars, gym memberships, Red Hawks tickets, sides of beef, backyard greenhouse, dinner for 8 at Ziti's, and lots more. So keep that in mind as another item on your calendar when it comes to what's up and coming. The week after that will be the Minnesota Soil Health Nutrient Management Soil School. That's at Craig LaPlante's farm, August 6th and 7th, featuring Ray Archuleta. That's up near Crookston. Rainfall assessments, rainfall simulator demo, farm tour, and a whole lot of topics and discussion. And that'll be August 6th and 7th for all of you soil health devotees. If you miss any of those details, you can call us on the JLA Insurance phone line, 701-293-9000. We'd love to hear your questions, answer those for you. And if you have crop insurance questions, call JLA Insurance. Talk to Nate Thorsrud. He's a farmer too. And you can be watching us today on our Lighthouse Commodities live stream, brought to us by Acres TV, brought to us by Lighthouse Commodities, but on Acres TV, Facebook, and YouTube. In fact, speaking of Acres TV, next Thursday I will be in Baltic, South Dakota for Ag PhD Field Day, and I've just booked our guests. You'll be joining us to have a visit with Marcel Kringa. He is the founder and CEO of what was once Bushel Plus, now it's Brandt Volt. We're going to talk about setting that combine correctly for harvest. We'll also be joined by Emily Sharkey of Shark Farmer Media while we're down there. So great things coming up in the next few days. Story to put a smile on your face. Volkswagen has some unofficial hires that are flocking to their facility in Poland. 100 sheep are now grazing at their solar farm for agvoltaics. This is combining agriculture along with energy, and the sheep are keeping down the grass underneath the solar panels. Sheep are commonly used. Sometimes it might be cows. It's never goats. Goats climb. They wreck things. And so the sheep are going to be overseen by the University of Life Sciences. There'll be some studies being done. Grazing, animal welfare, biodiversity, soil quality, vegetation, and more. And Volkswagen can say, well, they've gone a little bit environmental. I somehow don't think there'll be a race between any of the grazing sheep and the Volkswagens, though. If there is, let me know. I'd like to see it. It'd be worth our time. uh, Often in our own diets, we're supposed to watch our portion control. Didn't I just say something about a buffet a little while ago? Yeah. Well, there goes the portion control. But a reminder from North Dakota Stockmen's Association in their most recent magazine talks about weighing feed for particularly horses. And we should probably be doing the same for our pets, our dogs and cats. Because when you read the bag, and how many of you read the bag on the feed? Hopefully you did. Read the bag, it says add a scoop. Is that scoop the same one you use to measure your coffee, or the number 6 grain scoop that you used to shovel the driveway this winter? Which one should it be? So it's better to weigh it out. If you have older horses in particular who are looking to improve their overall health, first of all, you got to make sure to check their body condition score. See if they are in a situation where they need to gain or lose weight, and fit your supplements to doing the right thing. Then weigh out that food, making sure that if they're going to gain or lose, we're doing it in the right manner. Actually, for you horse owners, if you're curious, how do I weigh my horse? I don't exactly have a bathroom scale that size. There is something called the heart girth measurement. And what you can do is you measure just behind the elbow, but around the barrel of the horse up over the withers. Keep that tape snug. And then you take that times the length of the animal. And that's the measurement that you would use to give a necessary figure to calculate an accurate weight estimation, so you can figure out, am I feeding correctly or am I underfeeding? So take time to work that out with those animals. I was asked this morning, what happens if I have multiples? Like sometimes if you have more than one dog, somebody's stealing from the other. Usually with horses, you can keep them separate. There's stalls or separate bunks that you can do that with. It's probably a little less easy if you have a whole herd of puppies, but you might want to consider how you can feed them differently. Sometimes you have to do a little separation to keep everybody from behaving like it is a buffet when they're not supposed to. There's lots of other ag history to talk about today, and our guests. We had a story earlier this week talking about a dollar amount that's coming to NDSU as a gift from the Offerdahl family. It's going to be directed towards some specific wheat research at North Dakota State University. Joining us after the Livestock Report with the American Ag Network, we'll have Dr. Greg Lardy and Dr. Barney Geddes. We're going to talk about what that research is, what's going to be going on, and how gifts like that get made to the university. We'll talk about it when we return. Next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday is the Save Our Summer Blood Drive. If you haven't heard, My Talent locally is facing a critical shortage of type O blood and urging all blood donors, especially type O, to make an appointment to come in the coming weeks. To make it easier, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of next week at West Acres, that'll be July 28th through the 30th, you can stop by right there in the food court to donate. Starts at 11:30, ends at 6 p.m. Nice and easy. I'll be there on Tuesday morning. Feel free to stop by. Join me as I plan to donate as well. I'm a regular blood donor, and we'd love to see everyone, with no matter their type of blood, stop by and be able to donate to help overcome the critical shortage that we have right now. Donors who give through August 8th are automatically entered to win a car. One lucky donor will win up to $30,000 to be paid to the dealership of your choice. Well, Addison's you bought a car too soon. All you needed to do was go donate a pint of blood, and you too could have had the Ford of your choice.
All I had to do was wait.
Maybe you need two of them, a spare.
I do have a 2-star garage. I could.
You could indeed. Speaking of things that we will do indeed, our guests are joining us today, and that is Dr. Greg Lardy and Dr. Uh, Barney Geddes. And so, to both of you, welcome. And we'll start with Dr. Lardy. This is a huge step for NDSU when it comes to being able to further research and advance. Has anything like this been worked on around the country, or are we kind of at the forefront of it, compliments of the Offerdahl family?
Yeah, Bridgette, great to be with you. This is a fantastic gift. The Offerdahl family has been a very generous benefactor to NDSU and specifically to Dr. Geddes' program. He'll talk a little bit more about the specific research that he's doing, but we're one of many different labs and universities that are working broadly across this topic area with nitrogen fixation and wanting to, have research that allows for less reliance on nitrogen-based fertilizers in general, and improving sustainability and profitability of farms because of that.
Here at NDSU, we like to keep ourselves on the cutting edge and forefront of so many different projects. I'm sure this is not the only one. I think there have been a lot of other highlights, you might say, that have been coming from the College of Agriculture, where you, Dr. Lardy, serve as the Joe and Norma Peltier Vice President of the College of Ag.
That's correct. We've got a number of different research areas. We just finished our field day circuit, a couple of weeks in July, where we were out across the state and got to see, hear, and feel all the different research that's happening at our REC network. And of course, many of our campus faculty are collaborating with those scientists across the RECs as well. So we saw, some really neat research on virtual fencing. We saw a number of our newer plant varieties that are in development, a lot of agronomic research, and kind of everything in between. So it was really great 2 weeks of travel and seeing our staff and interacting with stakeholders across the state.
You got to introduce our new NDSU president to so many people. Any first thoughts?
Yeah, I did. And, having a president like Dr. Stewart, fantastic leader, spent his career at three of, I would say, aspirational peers for us in terms of land-grant institutions, many years at NC State, then a stint at the University of Missouri, and most recently at Kansas State. And all three of them, in many different ways are aspirational peers for NDSU. They're prominent land grants, good at what they do in their own state. But I think he came away impressed with the level of investment that the state has made in our ag extension and research enterprise. And I know he came away impressed with the quality of our faculty and staff from top to bottom across all of our departments and REC network.
And probably the quality of our alumni. Let's talk a little bit about Richard and Linda Offerdahl, who are making this commitment and gift to NDSU. I would imagine you've met them personally. Do you have a little bit of story to share in regards to them?
Yeah, I first got to know Richard and Linda probably 5 years ago now. Richard is an electrical engineering graduate, grew up in the Ada, Minnesota area, didn't come from an ag background, and went to NDSU, went off with his electrical engineering degree and was very successful in business, has then used that success in business to come back and support his alma mater. And so we first got acquainted, so like I said, several years ago. He had asked a bit more about some of the things that we were doing in ag research that were really benefiting, farmers across the region. And so I had an opportunity to highlight a little bit of the work that Dr. Geddes was doing at the time, and Richard became interested in that, and it started with some smaller gifts to support some key research interests that Dr. Geddes had, and all of a sudden, here we are with a several $1 million gift to support a much broader research effort that will really take this program to, many critical milestones moving forward. So we're very excited about what this will mean for obviously for NDSU and for Dr. Geddes' program, but I think more importantly, what it means for the broader effort to reduce our reliance on nitrogen fertilizers and improve profitability and sustainability.
We're looking at a global impact with this type of research, and so we're joined by Dr. Barney Geddes. And Dr. Geddes, has this type of work been started, or considering that NDSU has always been a leader in cereal technology and research, are we sort of the first to step up and want to get our hands dirty in this realm?
Yeah, thanks. I'm really happy to be here. So this project is a huge passion of mine because it's something I've been able to work on throughout my entire career. So this has been recognized as kind of the holy grail of biotechnology for many years, the ability to get cereal crops that can acquire their own nitrogen because of the impact of fertilizer and the economics that surround that. So there has been a global effort for many years to work on this problem. And for me, I was really, really excited to sort of bring that angle to NDSU. So much of our work here is focused on sort of the near-term aims, getting new varieties to farmers and things like that, where this is a bit more of an aspirational project where we want to really make fundamental transformations for agriculture. It's something that I worked on for several years as a postdoctoral researcher at the University of Oxford, and I've carried from that work many collaborators around the world who are all working in this space, and I'm just really excited that now we have the opportunity to sort of lead the charge a little bit here at NDSU as well.
And can you explain a little bit how are we going to, or how is research? You talked about producing your own nitrogen and reducing fertilizer, which would obviously save our ag community quite a bit of money. How is that being done through the research?
Yeah, so there's a lot to figure out.
Right.
What we do is we look to nature and how nature has done this already. And so fortunately, there's this incredible miracle of nature where legume crops like soybeans or peas or alfalfa, they already can form these incredible symbiotic associations with bacteria from our soil.
Okay.
And they actually form whole new organs on their roots called nodules to house bacteria from our soil in these enormous quantities, which are able to take nitrogen straight out of the air that we breathe, which normally plants can't utilize,
Okay.
And transform that into usable forms. And so that basically serves as a blueprint for us to try to understand how to make that that relationship accessible further to other crops.
Interesting.
When you think about this, timeliness is everything. And we have heard for many months that the cost of synthetic fertilizer as an input right now has been wildly high for the last many months. And we've seen just such a roller coaster in the cycle of that pricing. This is coming at a great time. But I would first of all caution everybody before we talk about the specifics of it. It's not like you're going to have this research ready in the next year or 2 years for growing seasons for people to be able to say, can I plant that wheat now? So is there a timeline on the length of time it'll take you to maybe get to your end goal?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of milestones to be hit before it's something that a farmer could plant in the ground. Right now for us, just even getting sort of a whisper of this relationship would be a monumental achievement in science. And from there, things would be scaled probably by industry to some degree and started to be made available for farmers. So this is just one aspect of my program at NDSU, and we also recognize the need for technologies farmers can utilize right now because fertilizers are an issue. And so we have many foci in the lab around that and just generally improving the technology that is available now, which is with legume crops. And so for near-term solutions, I think focusing on the legumes that we can grow. And in North Dakota, we're one of the best legume growing states in the country. We grow probably the most of just about any state, and we're a leader in production of many of those. And so that's where farmers should look for the near-term solutions and improvements. Whereas, this project is really a long-term goal, but well worth it. The payoff would just be astronomical, and it would be probably one of the most transformative advances in agriculture if we can pull it off. So I view this philanthropic commitment is really important, because philanthropy can kind of support these long-term missions in a way that are a little bit more challenging to support with sort of the conventional means that support our programs.
There are questions coming in from listeners, things like, will this include using CRISPR technology with gene editing? What are some of the first steps that have to be taken? We will learn those as well as more when we return with our discussion with Dr. Barney Geddes, as well as the Joe and Norma Peltier Vice President for Agriculture, Dr. Greg Lardy from NDSU. Earlier this week, I had an opportunity to be part of the Bell Bank Ag News Live event here in Fargo, and they went on to do that in two other locations, down in Mankato as well as out in Wisconsin. And it was an awesome time to sit and listen, probably better than I ever did in any of my ag economics classes in college, in order to get a better understanding of what's going on globally when it comes to not only energy, but agriculture, socioeconomics, and so much more. And I was asked by several of you to go ahead and put together a summary of some of the things that I heard and learned while I was there. That's now up on our website for WDAY. You can check that out. And I put a link to that on our WDAY Weather and Ag Facebook page to find that, so you can catch up on some of those details as well. We are joined in studio today by Dr. Barry Geddes as well as Dr. Greg Lardy. Dr. Lardy is the Joe and Norma Pelletier Vice President for the College of Ag. And when we started this discussion, it's because of a recent gift, not grant, but gift from the Offerdahl family to the tune of $3 million. And I've had some questions about how that money is going to be used in Dr. Geddes' wheat research. One is, what are the first steps that you have to take? Do you have the business case, so to speak, or will that be built as your research goes forward?
Yeah, thanks for that question. So for us, we really do have a model of where we want to go from the legume rhizobium symbiosis that we're trying to recreate here in cereals. And so we know all of the steps that go on to start that relationship and ultimately culminate in this incredible process of nitrogen fixation. And so we do kind of have a roadmap of the things that legumes are doing as they interact with bacteria that we need to recapitulate within cereal crops, basically. And we've made a few advances already. So thanks to some earlier support from Richard and Linda Offerdahl, we were already able to make a substantial progress along the road. And this gift is just a renewed commitment to sort of let us take it to the next level. And so those first steps are really about signaling and communication. And so it's kind of incredible that plants and bacteria can talk to each other. And really, we need to get cereals talking to beneficial microbes in the same way that legumes are talking to these rhizobia that fix nitrogen for them. And so communication is the first step, and then cooperation comes afterwards. The plant needs to provide resources to the bacteria to let them fix the nitrogen, and the bacteria need to not be selfish with that process and to provide the nitrogen back. And so there's a lot to be done to basically boot up a true symbiotic relationship. But we have, fortunately, that model within nature to try to recapitulate. And so it's really setting milestones over what we see happening there in the natural system and trying to achieve that sort of step by step.
Dr. Lardy, when I heard there were some other gifts from the Offerdahl family, this is a family that, even though Richard was an electrical engineer, he comes in with a very big humanitarian effort, you might say, and wanting to see how food crops can do better on their own. And that's probably true of many folks who give gifts. It doesn't have to be just within the discipline that they once studied.
Yeah, that's correct, Bridgette. And Richard and Linda are a great example of that. Obviously his academic background, electrical engineering, very successful businessman. But when we started talking to him, and he asked about what are some of the things that your faculty are doing in ag, and we discussed several different, research areas that we had involvement in, but he gravitated almost immediately toward this nitrogen fixation question, in part because, he is interested in ways that, farms can be more sustainable, farmers can be better off, financially, but also when you look at the impact of improving nitrogen fixation on legumes and perhaps ultimately having nitrogen fixation be part of cereal programs like corn and wheat, that has environmental benefits as well. And we've also seen, clearly in the last several months that, the geopolitical situation, reducing our dependence on nitrogen-based fertilizers is certainly one that has some national security implications as well.
Hey, food is national security. And here we are as a land-grant university being the forefront of protecting it. I think that's one of our most important missions that we could do. I can't agree more. Now, a question from a listener. Will this include using things like CRISPR technology, gene editing, so to speak, or do we not know that answer yet?
Yeah, so to do something on the scale of what we're trying to do, really we do have to rewire biology basically. And so yes, we will need to use things like CRISPR or really any other tools at our disposal to change the genomes of these organisms and allow them to associate with one another. There are more natural approaches that can be taken, and there's some exciting research in that area that's gone on. Things like corn that can nourish some bacteria through mucilage on its brace roots, and those can deliver some nitrogen for cereals, and those are exciting research avenues. But they'll never function at the efficiency of the legume symbiosis, which really you're starting to look at complete independence from fertilization. And so to achieve that, it kind of necessitates the use of the most advanced tools biotechnology has available for us.
When we think about fertilizer production, we often refer to the Haber-Bosch system, which was perfected in Europe back in the 1920s into the 1930s, if I'm not mistaken, where we sort of got to the point where we are today with commercial fertilizers. And the question from a listener is it basically putting the Haber-Bosch system into a plant?
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. So I often think about the nodules on the roots of a crop, which is what we'd like to see on corn and wheat eventually, as each one their own little factory that's transforming dinitrogen from the air into ammonia. And that's what happens in the Haber-Bosch process. The difference is in the Haber-Bosch process, it takes an enormous amount of heat and pressure, which is a lot of energy, and it uses a lot of natural gas to do that. In the bacteria, they have the ability to do this without any heat or any pressure, because they have this really special ability to just transform that using something called an enzyme, which is something that they just produce inside of their cells. And so really you can think of each nodule like a fertilizer factory, and that's what they're doing. It's just using a natural process that requires far less energy input.
Okay, that very much helps clarify it for some folks. And as you've talked about this, we've mentioned cereal crops like wheat. Other cereals that come to mind are barley, oats, etc. Will this technology be used in those other cereals, or are we thinking primarily about wheat as it's such a commonly raised grain around the world?
Yeah, that's a great question. So actually, I think we talk about wheat and corn because that tends to be what most producers are interested in. But actually, most of our work right now is going on in barley. There's a couple of reasons for that, but it actually plays a little bit better in the lab, and it's easier for us to get a proof of concept in that system. But absolutely, I mean, if it's able to work in any of these crops, it's almost certainly going to be translatable across. And that would surely be a logical next choice that would likely be quickly picked up by industry and incorporated into getting it into tools available for farmers. So yeah, we're thinking across the board, but focusing on barley right now, actually, because that's the most easy for us to work with and get functioning in the lab.
The first thing I thought of when you said barley was no barley, no beer, and everybody who's looking forward to happy hour said yes. Yes, thank you for that work. Much appreciated. Did you want to take a moment to highlight any of the other research that you might be doing at this point in time, Dr. Geddes?
Yeah, sure, I'd be happy to. So just more broadly, for me, the reason I came to NDSU is that I wanted to build tools that can impact farmers. I grew up on a small sustainable farm in southern Manitoba, and I wanted to see the work that I'm doing really impacting the farm. And that's really why I'm here at NDSU, because I viewed that as a great platform to build my research program and to achieve those goals. And so as a result, we're broadly interested in any tools we can build that can help a farmer's operation, really, for me, using my expertise, which is understanding microbes. And so we do research in a variety of areas, including disease suppression, including reducing iron deficiency chlorosis in soybean, and then with a real passion for nitrogen fixation, which involves work in peas and soybeans and alfalfa, and trying to just improve the process there, because we do have those tools, but they're not working as well as they could. And so we also want to just improve the available tools in those crops to go from, if we can go from 80% nitrogen fixation to 90, that's a huge win and can still offset fertilizer budgets for farmers. And for us, that's a more approachable challenge to potentially get technology into farmers' hands in the near future. And so we're kind of working across that spectrum. The Offerdals have funded the most visionary aspects of the program, but we also have a few more down-to-earth lines trying to deliver results in the near future.
Dr. Lardy, for those who are listening and maybe they want to be a part of some projects down the road, do you have some words to folks that maybe have some potential to bring gifts like this to NDSU in the future?
Yeah, Bridgette, one of the things that Barney mentioned was the fact that philanthropy allows our scientists to do some things that are perhaps more visionary than what a traditional grant or contract would do. And a gift like this is truly transformational in terms of being able to take a program to the next level. But we would love to have conversations with prospective donors about supporting various aspects of our research program. Part of that is always about talent acquisition and retaining top talent. And so for us, for NDSU to be on the leading edge, we need talented scientists. We need world-class scientists like Dr. Geddes, and that's a critical part of how North Dakota farmers and agribusiness is going to be remain competitive in the future, is for us to be able to have that talent on staff and be working on critical issues that are really important. And philanthropy does give us the ability to take that further and faster than the traditional grants and contracts and those sorts of things.
How are the building projects going, by the way, over there on 18th Street? We've got some great new facilities coming online.
Yeah, we've got, the grand opening for our Bali Agricultural Laboratory will be Monday, August 10th. That'll be at 10:30 in the morning, and the public's welcome to come to that event. We're looking forward to being able to showcase that building. That's really kind of the front line for our folks that are working in agronomy, horticulture, plant pathology, soils, those areas. It's got some greenhouse space, it's got some lab space, but it's really the front end work that happens in all of those breeding programs and applied agronomy programs and so on. That's going to take place in that building, and we're excited to get that online. And then we've, through the course of our field day trip, we had the grand opening for our livestock research facility at Carrington, and a groundbreaking for a seed conditioning plant at Langdon, and a number of investments that state and private philanthropists have made to bring those facilities to reality. So it's a wonderful time from the standpoint of what we're able to do with facilities, and those facilities do help us attract and retain talent too.
And it was time. We had some facilities that were circa World War II. It's time to make some improvements and continue to attract that talent. I did mark it on my calendar. You said Monday, August 10th. Was that at 10 a.m. for the grand opening of the Bali?
10:30.
10:30. Well, let me just make that change so I can see you there. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thank you, Bridgette.
Awesome.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
guys.
much.
And best of luck in the research.
Thank you.
All right. Well, when we come back, we're going to detail the hottest weather so far this season. That's heading our way, and little chance for rain. We'll give you the full details coming up here in a few minutes. All right, welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. And it is 1:55 in the afternoon. Got a few minutes left here, and we're going to hit up on the weather here because the hottest air of the season. And some people, Addison, say I'm full of hot air, but this is even hotter than that.
I would agree, and that sounds miserable.
Yeah, it's gonna
Can't
be.
you just lie and say it's going to be really nice?
I could say it's gonna be in the 70s this weekend, and I wouldn't be lying.
Well, that's exactly what I want.
I didn't say here, but it will be in the 70s somewhere.
Where do
this
I
week.
need to go for it to be true?
Up in Canada. You have to cross the border.
That sounds like
And you're
work.
not allowed in that country anymore, are you? From what I
Not
heard?
after what happened last time.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about that.
I'm not allowed in Canada, and I'm almost not allowed in the North Dakota State Capitol, but that's a story for another time.
Okay, perfect. We are looking at some pretty hot weather. Again, the hottest of the season heading our way. Not today, though. There is a lot of sunshine out there today. There's a little bit of a breeze out of the south, about 10 to 25. We should top out in the mid-80s. We're in the low 80s right now. Thinking about 86 with a, again, southwest wind, about 10 to 25. Clear skies tonight. Lows in the low 60s. South winds 10 to 20. And it's going to be a little breezy on your Friday. Humidity levels pick up a little bit as well. We'll have those winds about 15 to 25, highs in the low 90s tomorrow. Now, we will see storms, at least possibility of storms coming into the area after about 4 or 5 o'clock through about 10 o'clock tomorrow evening. There's going to be a little weak boundary that moves in from the northwest. Now, the Storm Prediction Center does have areas from Fargo northwestward and a slight risk for severe weather as we head into tomorrow evening. So Friday night, Friday evening, I'm sure a lot of people have outdoor plans. A lot of stuff going on around town. We've got the big event out at the Legion in Moorhead. A lot of live music out there. We got music festivals out in Monaga, Minnesota this weekend. So just kind of keep an eye to the sky. And again, some of those storms could be on the strong side tomorrow evening. But the rest of the weekend looks hot and dry. And the good news is we're not going to have very strong winds over the weekend. And humidity levels, we'll have dew points in the mid-60s. That's tolerable. Once you get it in the 70-degree range, that's when you're getting really on the sticky side. So just a hot, dry weekend with highs about 96 on Saturday, between 98 and 100 on Sunday. The hottest temperature we've had so far this season has been 97. So we'll either eclipse that on Saturday or Sunday. And then as we head into next week, we're looking at temperatures across the board in the 90s. It does look like by the end of next week, might see upper 80s squeak in here. I'm not totally confident on that. And I don't see any widespread rain and cooler weather until about the 3rd or 4th of August. So we have about a good 10-day stretch of some really hot and mainly dry weather. Those storms, if they do develop and push through tomorrow evening, it looks like a quarter inch or so out of that. So nothing widespread. Some areas could pick up a little bit more if they get caught under one of the heavier storms. And then again, late next week, not looking at much out of that either. So unfortunately, we need the rain. We're a good 3.5 inches down just since the start of June. So obviously we're well below normal, and we are in drought conditions, and those will only get a little bit worse here over the next 10 days. So pray for a little bit of rain. We're not looking for much, but every little bit will help. So that'll do it for today's edition of Weather and Ag in Focus. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Don't go anywhere. The Jay Thomas Show, that's coming up next.